All right, our next speaker here at Allplan 2025 launch event is Aditya. As product manager for Allplan AEC Steel, he has driven advancements in Allplan steel modeling capabilities, notably integrating STS2's connection design engine to automate connection modeling. He was responsible for that over the last 2 years, and he has a decade of experience working with STS2, first as a connection engineering software developer, and then as a product owner for STS2's user experience modernization and engineering deliverable initiatives. Aditya, it's good to have you here today. You will introduce structural engineers and detailers to Allplan's latest developments towards efficiently generating accurate and pre-connected structural framing elements, and you will focus in particular on portal frame structures today. Before we get going, let me ask you a warm-up question. How do these improvements in steel modeling that you will show help our customers?
Thanks, Tim. So, steel structures typically require an elevated level of accuracy during modeling to ensure that the structure can be fabricated in the shop and erected on site without any trouble. The new portal frame tool and future development down that road is meant to help our users intuitively and efficiently create fully connected models while saving them both time and money.
That sounds very promising. I'm excited to see the power of the new portal frame tool that has been implemented in Allplan 2025, and I'm sure that goes also to our customers. So Aditya, please take over.
All right, thanks, Tim. So as mentioned, over the past couple of years, Allplan has steadily added support for the manual creation of structural framing elements using grids, roof planes, and floors as references for location and orientation of steel structural elements. This process can be extremely time-consuming and error-prone, especially given the level of precision required by even the simplest of steel structures. Moreover, this manual approach significantly hampers design flexibility once modeling is complete. In other words, when a design change has been instructed or provided, it is extremely difficult to modify the entire structure to accommodate such changes because you have to do it one at a time. Allplan's new portal frame structure tool addresses these challenges head-on by automating the creation of multiple frames in a single operation while making it easy to manipulate the overall building's dimensions and its constituent structural framing elements in a simple and unified property palette. The generated structure and its constituent elements are all associative and offers intuitive and interactive handles within the viewport to quickly modify the entire structure to your needs. It is also possible to modify individual or a subset of the structure's elements as they are still fully intelligent structural framing beams and columns. Customizations are retained even when the entire portal frame structure needs to be modified due to design changes, such as the overall roof slope in this example. Back to you, Tim.
A big thank you, Aditya. Stunning to see the new possibilities Allplan Steel provides in modeling portal frame structures. Before you go, can you give us an idea of what architects, structural engineers, and structural detailers can expect from future generations of Allplan Steel?
That's a great question. So we have an exciting and long-term vision that extends beyond this little bit of functionality, obviously. We want Allplan to become the ultimate tool for modeling and detailing steel within a multi-material environment, whether you're an architect looking to accurately visualize exposed steel, or an engineer looking to model structural systems with visual scripting, or a detailer looking to convey design intent or deliver contractual documentation. We will develop hierarchical and associative assembly modeling capabilities for steel structures, including connection material. This paves the way for intelligent and automated production of drawings and reports for construction documentation. Lastly, but not the least, we will focus on interoperability to ensure seamless collaboration with your project stakeholders throughout the project lifecycle. By adopting Allplan today, you're investing in a platform that will continue to evolve and meet the demands of your most complex projects, delivered on time and on budget.
Well, it's amazing to see that there's a clear and thought out long-term vision for Allplan Steel. I'm sure our customers are valuing that, and I'm also sure that it was not the last time we heard from you. So thanks again, Aditya, for participating today, and take care.
Thanks, Tim. Looking forward to hearing from you all.
I'm very delighted to bring in our next speaker. Monika Stasna is product owner at Alplan Slovakia and currently focusing on steel constructions. After graduating as an engineer in building construction technology from Slovak Technical University in Bratislava, she worked in an architectural office. In 1995, she joined Alplan, initially for quality assurance. Today, she's product owner. Monika, welcome to today's launch event. In your session, you will present the newest developments on mark numbering within Alplan 2025, not only for steel, but also for precast elements. So let me ask you a question before we go into the software. How do users benefit from the improved mark numbering for steel and precast elements?
Also, hello from my side. Thank you for your question. Users can work with the mark numbering easier and faster for steel object. And there was done also first step to apply new mark numbering system for next type of the Alplan objects for precast objects.
Okay, that sounds pretty interesting. So I can't wait to see how the optimized mark numbering looks in the brand new version of Alplan. Monika, you have my attention.
Thank you, Tim. For version 2025, we introduced a new functionality for the mark numbering. When you start the function, you will see a palette with 3 new properties. Every property has its own information button with a short description. As a first improvement, I would like to introduce the possibility that now we can exclude the drawing files which should not be considered for the recalculation of the mark numbering or for the creation of the new mark numberings. Already existing mark numbers in these drawing files will be ignored. If you decide later to again recalculate these drawing files, you activate them and they will be considered again. The next new property is the possibility to use again the mark number which was used before but currently is not used. So, for example, I would like to generate the new mark number for this object. So when the check is not on, I generate the mark number. On the next new free mark number was set. So it means now there is a B11. But I would like to use mark number 4 because we can see that mark number B4 doesn't exist. So we can set undo step and generate the mark number again. Now I activate this possibility, generate the mark number. And we can see also in the object palette that the free mark number was used. Then there is a possibility that now we can recalculate all drawing files through the whole project if there are some incorrect mark numbers. For example, I change this object, I change attributes which should be considered for the recalculation of the mark number, for example, material. I set a new material, so then we will see the information about incorrect mark number in notification center. I start the palette for the mark numbering and I click only the recalculation. So now the recalculation is done through the whole project. After confirmation, so you can see that now there is a correct mark number. Then the new functionality of the mark number is used since version 2025 also for the precast objects. So here is a simple example. I select the precast object. I define a schema for this object. So for example, I set $8. Now I start the recalculation. And we can see in the object palette that the new mark number for the precast objects was set, but we can check it also directly in the palette for the precast objects. So here we can see that the new mark number for the precast object was set. Okay, so that's all from my side. Back to you, Tim.
Okay, thank you, Monika. Good to see that improvements on mark numbering have been implemented in the latest version of Allplan, but I'm sure you have further improvements to the mark numbering function in the pipeline. Therefore, I would like to know which future developments our users can expect.
Our customers can expect extended functionality because the development is still in progress and we are still adding next new features. Later, it could be applied to any type of objects in Allplan.
That is a pretty promising outlook, I'd say, especially to apply to basically every object out there in Allplan. Monika, thanks once more for being part of the launch event. It was a pleasure to have you on board. Take care and see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, let's stay on the subject of precast elements and bring in my colleague Fabian Scheller. As product manager at Allplan, Fabian Scheller is responsible for the development and the implementation of new software solutions that meet the specific requirements of the precast concrete industry. Thanks to 16 years of experience in various positions at Allplan Precast, he has a deep understanding of the technical aspects of precast concrete production and related software solutions. Therefore, he is the perfect match to introduce you to some new features of Allplan Precast. Fabian, you will show us today how to create free-form shaped precast elements in a quick but yet precise manner.
Okay, let's have a look on the newest functionality to improve the work with any kind of complexity. I would like to start with the main highlights for reinforcement detailing inside of Allplan 25. There is a new function called Place Bars along any surface, the possibility to unlink area reinforcement, and the improvements of direct object modification for easy adjustments. Our example is a complex balcony with the new functionality Place Bars along surface. It is extremely easy to reinforce a selected area. After the creation, the user is directly able to modify the concrete cover or some of the other placement opportunities. Via the property window, the user can afterwards adjust the reinforcement based on new requirements. If the required changes are not part of the property of the surface reinforcement, the user can unlink the reinforcement and adjust it with the existing functionalities. For example, he can change parts of the placement via direct object modification. This is really intuitive and speeds up the work. With these extensions, complex shapes can be easily reinforced. My next topic are the improvements of fixtures. In 24, we started to improve the handling of fixtures and already received a lot of positive feedback. In 25, we finalized the work and implemented the placement of fixtures along surface, direct object modification to make adjustments on the placement intuitive and faster, and we added the possibility to create dimension points for associative dimension lines to increase the performance and the handling. With just one click, the fixture is transformed into the correct position based on any reference surface. The handling with handles is extremely intuitive and efficient for modification. Fixtures can be placed in a model or in a view or a section. We also introduced the local coordinate system for fixtures to explain the user the transformation on the reference surface. This example shows the benefits of unified navigation, because from now on users can directly rotate the element without using a separate mode. The next thing I would like to point out are the performance improvements of user-defined associative dimension points. Inside the definition of a fixture, the user is able to define his own custom dimension points. If they are available, the program does not need to calculate all existing edges of the fixtures. it will be directly offered the predefined points. This makes it much more efficient to select the right points for dimensioning an object. Let's speak about our new module Freeform formwork inside of Allplan Ultimate. With this solution, it is absolutely easy to create the formwork of balconies, spiral staircases, or unique prefab infra objects. I will show you how to assign formwork boards along any surface, create a substructure with an automatic juggling of the formwork boards, and the optimized export of formwork boards for a CNC machine. The first step is to assign formwork boards of existing surfaces under consideration of the neighbor board. That means the first selection of an area is mandatory for the area of the second selected board. In this example, the front sides are overlapping the predefined existing boards. In the next step, I will create a substructure based on a 3D geometry. In this example, I used a 3D modeling area to create a simple box. Here we can also see the new point recognition of the cursor. The user will be informed with a rectangle that he needs to have a more precise look on the situation to pick the right point. This avoids mistakes or wrong selection of points in difficult situations. To distinguish between horizontal and vertical boards, I use two different colors. The possibility to overtake any 3D component into a formwork board and the transformation back of single shuttering boards allows to find a solution for every situation. In the next step, the 3D components are transferred into a formwork substructure. To speed up the situation, I used some predefined boards for the rest of the solution. But you can also copy or adjust the boards via point modification to your personal needs. On the following, you will see how to create a juggling between the formwork boards. First decision of the juggling is to select a basic element, in this example the vertical boards, and then the horizontal boards to create the juggling. Now it's time for the intersection of the substructure with the rest of the existing formwork and the model itself. In the animation window, you can see the result of the juggling. This functionality saves a lot of time and makes the creation of any kind of substructure extremely easy and efficient. The next step is to create an explosion view of the attached formwork boards without the substructure. With the use of the object tree, manual shuttering boards can be easily switched off and the rest of the elements can be selected via area selection. The last step is the export for the data for a CNC machine. In my case, I just create all boards in the drawing file via a batch export to make the export visible for us. In the first step, for all attached boards, and in the second for the complete substructure. Regardless of the machine supplier, the data is prepared and optimized for an automated processing.
Thank you, Fabian. I'm really impressed by the ease and the efficiency with which engineers can create arbitrarily complex formwork boards based on any shape. To close out the session, can you give us an insight into the further planning? What can Allplan users look forward to?
Of course. The topic of sustainability and the associative openness to multi-material is a clear focus for our future development. Performance and usability improvements are also at the top of our agenda for next releases. The merge of Allplan, Frilo and Skia provides us a large opportunity for unique automatisms in the planning process of the future. So our users can look forward to a variety of exciting features in the future.
Indeed, very exciting times to be a user of Allplan. I think they're really looking forward to a lot of new solutions that they will face in the future. Thanks again for your contribution to today's event, and take care, Fabian. My colleague Fabian has just finished the last of the 11 sessions that provided user insights and featured the new functionalities in our Allplan software solutions for engineers. It was my pleasure to guide you through this very exciting and informative part of the engineering stream, and I deeply want to thank you for your attendance and your attention. But although the event is nearing the end, it isn't over yet. And with that being said, I hand the moderation back to you, Ilona. Enjoy the rest of the event, and goodbye, everyone.